Hi, I'm Jill Chivers from Shop Your Wardrobe.
And I'm Imogen Lamport from Inside Out Style. We've been asked to discuss some of the aspects of ageing and style. And we've already talked about body shape, lifestyle, and some of those other sorts of changes. And today we want to talk about colour and how colouring actually changes with age.
Yeah.
Now, a long time ago, when I first found out about a colour analysis, it used to be, you got a set of colours and it was that for life.
Right.
But, really it's not the same. Like, I was a winter back then, I had black hair.
Yeah.
I don't have black hair anymore. Those colours just don't suit me
Yeah.
in the way they suited me then.
Yeah.
So I've had to readjust my whole wardrobe as I've gone blonde. And that's, it actually took quite a while and a lot of thought, and I've had to readjust my contrast levels as well, because
Yes.
that is another aspect that in particular changes. If you've gone from a high contrast, you may, if you don't have dark eyes, you may lose that contrast. And then that's, it's even just how I put an outfit together. I mean, when I first changed my hair, my husband would say, "Aren't you dressed yet, honey? You've been standing there for half an hour." As I was standing at my wardrobe naked or in my underwear, like going, "Oh, how do I put stuff together?" I had to and I'd put something on and go, "No, this does not work." I had to completely rethink my way of getting dressed. And that was actually quite tricky. And so I know that that's something that I'm sure I'm not the only one. Maybe people don't think about it quite as much as me.
But I think your transition too from having black as a bit of a go-to neutral through to now it's white as a go-to neutral. I think that's hugely dramatic. It's very visible to see that, because obviously the contrast between those two is so stark. And I think that was something that was a really interesting visual marker for those of us who have followed your journey of changing your hair colour. That's a really obvious one to see, and that black just became too heavy and too harsh for you.
Yeah, it's funny. I still have some of my black clothes. I rarely wear them now because I put them on and I don't feel good like I used to.
Yeah.
And so I moved from what I call my dramatic palette, which is cool and deep and bright, and then so I moved into refined. So refined is cool and light and bright.
Right. Yeah.
But now I'm getting towards 50.
Yeah.
And I'm finding I can still, because I have a shinier skin, I can get away with some of the shinier colours. And I've gone a fairly bright blonde as well. Yeah. So I can still work some of the but my skin isn't as bright and clear as it was.
Right.
And
this is what happens to a lot of women.
It happens to all of us. Like, this is what,
Sorry, it happens to all of us.
Sadly. So what happens is your skin changes. This is why when you see someone dye their hair to their natural colour, it looks hard.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the skin they had when they had that colour.
Yeah. And
this is why often we need to change our hair. If we're dyeing it, we need to soften it down with age. We need to take some of the clarity and brightness out.
Yeah.
So what happened is I've gone from this brighter palette to, I'm moving into this soft. So at the moment I'm playing in between. I'm in a transition, and I look at transition as it's for most of it's every 10 to 15 years.
Right.
You may be in transition. Now, if you started out as a soft group, it's not going to be the same. No. You'll be able to wear that much longer.
Yeah, right.
But if you started out with clarity, this is where you'll find that there's much more change.
Right, so the clarity reduces over time.
It reduces
much more quickly.
Yeah, because, so when we think about it, if my hair is going grey, so grey is a muted colour.
Right, yep.
So if my hair is going grey, my skin's actually greying down, and actually my eyes are losing pigment too. So all of my colouring is starting to soften down.
Yeah, okay.
And so therefore, what suited me when I was younger and brighter starts to look too hard and harsh, and I need to start to move to something a bit softer.
Yeah, so again, that principle of you're wearing the colour, the colour's not wearing you.
And so that this is your communication centre, so this is the focus, not what you're wearing.
Right.
If all you see is the colour first, it's maybe not the right colour anymore.
Yeah.
The colour starts to be too hard. It's like, I just noticed the colour versus, I'm wearing the colour.
Yeah, what a
but the
beautiful
colour
woman.
is not draining you.
Yeah.
And so this is there's a level of, there's levels. It's like, here's bright and here's muted, and then there's all these in between.
Points along.
So it's like I'm moving down this scale from brighter to
and what's
more muted.
being added here is grey, right?
Just a small amount of grey has been added to these over these, which are more clear and bright.
Yes.
Then what may happen, and this depends too on hair colour and those sorts of things, is I may move to an even more muted palette.
So this is further down from the Sublime
Fine.
palette, more
We're
grey.
moving down to the Serene.
Right.
So Serene is very smoky. I think of these colours as being smoky. So take a colour, pass a haze of smoke over them,
Right.
and there I am.
Yeah, got it.
So that's moved down. But then what can happen too is, now grey, or like say grey silver hair, more greyed out, more serene. But if I end up as that pure white hair, white is actually quite bright.
Yeah.
And I might move back to a level of clarity.
Right, with this tranquil
This
palette.
is tranquil, and what this has had is, rather than it being softened by grey, it's been softened by a lot of white.
Right, so it's been
highly
tinted.
tinted.
Right.
So these are all tints because we're in a lighter palette, but this has been highly tinted. So it's milky. I think of it more as a milky,
right.
softened by a lot of milk,
Yeah.
rather than softened by grey.
By that haze of smoke.
By the haze of smoke.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it?
So that's where, we've kind of got this
and that's where there's
movement.
a level of precision and thoughtfulness
Yes.
to this. So it's not just, well, I'll keep my colour palette and I'll just add grey to it and then I'll be
Yes.
right. I mean, you can do as you wish, but if you really want to get it right specifically for you, there is all this nuance to it, isn't
It's
there?
very nuanced. And this is where too, I think, this is why colour systems have evolved beyond 4 seasons, is that people realise that, that there's a lot of nuance, and that we are too varied.
Yeah.
We need more variety.
And also the process is different for different women.
Yeah.
So you were saying that those last two, you could be one or the other. You're not going to be both.
No, I'm not going to be both, but I may journey through one to the other, but I may only take, and this depends too on where I go with my hair as well.
Right.
But I may journey through to Serene. I might stay there, because some people stay as that grey.
Yeah.
Other people end up as white.
Yeah.
So I might journey through one into another.
Yeah.
Now, Jill's been zesty for a long time,
Yes.
for most of her life, but at the moment I'd say that, again,
So warm, bright and light.
warm, bright and light,
Yeah.
is that I would say that she's currently on her journey to spicy.
I am.
And so when we think about the difference between zesty and spicy, you'll see zesty is brighter than spicy.
Yeah.
But spicy has, what I've been calling, is softened by toasting.
Yes.
Rather than softened by grey, so it remains very warm still. So,
and that is just so fascinating to me, because if you didn't understand that principle, you would think I'll add grey into these colours, but that's not how it works for this particular palette.
for the warmth. And it's, so this is where some people, they kind of go, they retain their warmth. And you can see in Jill's skin, she's got a very golden skin, like the warmth level is there.
Yeah.
But it's just like, are we softening now rather than the brighter colours, which
We're
is starting.
softening. We're definitely
we
softening.
We can suddenly see, we're softening. And that starts to be better.
Yeah, it is. And what I was saying to Imogen before was that the items that I have in my wardrobe that are in the zesty palette, I'm keeping them if I love them, but when I'm doing through my review process, which is fairly constant for me, they're the first ones that are sort of coming up for a review, like they're on parole.
Yes.
Much more frequently. And when I'm, looking at new things, I'm less drawn to those. Or if I am, I'm looking at them in accessories, handbags or bangles or things that are away from my face.
Or just, so an accessory doesn't matter so much. It's a small proportion. Exactly like we talked in another video about wearing colours that don't work. Small proportion doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So this is where there's a softening, but it's browned down. So toasting is kind of adding a brown element rather than grey. Now, if we think about grey, both black and white are cool.
Yes.
So when we add grey to a warm colour, it takes some of the warmth out of it.
Yes.
Now, it can still be warm. It's just not as warm. So the next step for Jill may be, not everybody goes here. This is where, she may stay spicy for an awfully long time. But it can be what we call going down into the intriguing palette here. So what we've got is the spicy and then the intriguing, and you can see that the warmth, the level of warmth is being removed.
Yes.
And in fact, many people look at these and say they're cool, but they're not.
Right.
If I compare it to Serene, which is its cool opposite,
Right.
you'll suddenly go, oh no, I see the warmth there.
Yes, I can see it already.
You can see there's still warmth in it.
Yes.
But it's just not warm in the way spicy and zesty are warm.
Yeah.
And so that's where, so Jill may end up, and I would guess, that probably it's another 15 or 20 years. That you know, like that may be when it happens, and you'll notice it's often when women go particularly grey.
Yeah.
So Jill's only starting to grey, but when she really,
which my new young hairdresser just announced to me at my appointment in a rather shocking way. I mean, I had a clue about it, but.
Yeah.
And you know what's really interesting is I'm excited about this. I love these colours, and embracing them is actually really exciting and something I'm looking forward to. When I think about the intriguing, I don't have that feeling, but you know what? I don't have to think about that now.
Because it's way away.
Yeah, and it may not happen. But this, I think, this is a really exciting new part of my journey.
And then, of course, from intriguing, then for some people, what happens is they end up in cool.
And that's amazing to me. I find that just absolutely amazing.
It seems that the carotene goes, so that all the warmth markers disappear.
Yeah.
Because black and white, cool. So what happens is if you keep greying and your skin loses that warmth, we end up on the cool side.
Yeah, that's
and I will link. I've done a post or two about people going from warm to cool.
Yeah.
So I'll link to that in the show notes.
Yeah.
They call it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's just something, you know, because people often say, what's going to happen or where will I be?
Yeah.
That's kind of like a, you know, our potential colour journey.
Yeah. And each woman's is different, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, there are some themes, obviously, but your own journey will be different. And I think the key is to have some awareness about it, that it is going to happen. It's a natural part of embracing the next phase of being your fabulous self, and to get excited about the next part of it. I often find change enormously difficult to get excited about. So when I find something that does really grab me like this, it's a wonderful thing. So I can use this as kind of, for me, it's my lead. It's the thing that helps me to get into that next phase that I can get really enthused about.
And probably in another 15 years this will be exciting for Jill.
Well, that's what she says now. Anyway, we'll do a video in 15 years time, we'll talk about it then. But what we'd like to hear is, what are you facing in that next phase of your style journey? No matter, you know, what your age is, you know, whether you're in your 40s like we still are clinging to, or whether you're older, or maybe you're even thinking about it when you're a bit younger.
Or even to tell us about how your colouring's changed. What have you noticed about how your colouring's changed?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't stay the same throughout our lives.
Yeah.